So we will call the FDA meeting to order for Tuesday, September 30th. And the first item here is the agenda is before us. There any additions, revisions to the agenda? I will make one. Under additional items, we will add a convention center update. So that'd be 4A. Any other?
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mike.
Second.
There's a second from Rick. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those both same sign. Thank you. Agenda is approved with the one addition. Next order of business is the minutes from August 25th. Comments, questions, inputs, a motion. A motion.
Make a motion to.
Thank you, Troy. Blake, second. All those in favor accept the minutes as presented say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Thank you. Old business. Is there any old business in front of the FDA?
I'm not sure where they are. So. I just talked to Ben today. Well, you were on the email.
Oh, we missed some.
Next time I promise to look at the agenda before I walk in.
Oh.
Insurance update. They were supposed to be here, but we started at 3:30, so we may have to just adjust the agenda for when they come in.
Oh. Okay. Oh, all right. Carrying on, number 3. Any old business in front of the FDA? Carrying on, new business. We will jump right to 3B and we'll leave 3A open for the time being. So, Rob, table's yours.
All right. Page 3 is the financials. It hasn't been the last couple of years, but typically August is a slower month, and that is reflected here. So the month of August did not have any events budgeted, nor did we have any ticketed events. We did have meeting room activity. We had NDSU's Fan Day, things such as that. So we had a total event income of $11,000 compared to a budget of $8,400. We had indirect expenses of $436,500 compared to a budget of just under $422,000. So we had a net deficit for the month of August of $273,000 compared to a budget of $249,500. So a little bit above budget on that. As I mentioned on the event side, NDSU with their Fan Day is not a budgeted event, so it's slightly above. And then meeting rooms were very active. A couple of caterings through Casey's department that helped boost the revenue there. On the other income, the net advertising continues to run a bit below budget on a monthly basis. Interest is above budget. I wish it was more. Sorry, Rick. I know you get mad at me when I say that. But it is what it is. So about $11,000 below budget overall on other income. And on expenses, labor was slightly below budget with lower part-time non-event labor, but also offset with our employee orientation. G&A above budget, like it is every month, with higher insurance expense renewal. And operations was above budget. Steam, heating, and cooling, we're recognizing the actual expenses from July. Then also the maintenance contracts and building repairs. Any questions on the month? So basically through the end of August, we've had 56 events with attendance of just over 212,500 versus a budget of 58 events, 229,000 in attendance. Indirect expenses are pretty close to budget, about 25,000 off at 3.54 million versus 3.51, which gives us currently running a net deficit at 471,000 compared to a budgeted net deficit of $233,000. Any questions? Gearing on that would take on the financials. Moving to page 11 then, as I mentioned, August was a pretty quiet month from a ticketed event side, but getting ready for the football season, turf down, things such as that. And then with September, we had on the 11th, Thursday the 11th is our last meeting, was the college, NDSU's College of Health Professionals. They had their career fair. They had a scholarship recognition brunch. Then they had their career fair. Then they had the scholarship recognition dessert lunch. So I think it's great when you look at it and say, okay, so there's enough scholarship recipients that they have to have two different receptions up in the meeting rooms here while they sandwiched the career fair in between. So I think that's great. So that was on Wednesday and Thursday, the 10th and 11th. Saturday the 13th, the NDSU's home opener against Southeast Missouri State. A quick turf turnaround, pulled the turf, and the engineering or the NDSU Career and Counseling Center had their fall career fair on the 16th and 17th of August. Football turf went back out, and we had first of 4 youth football days right now, with the Midwest Premier Football League having a day of football games on Sunday the 21st, rolling into this past Saturday's homecoming game against University of South Dakota. And then another day of youth football was past Sunday with the Carrington, Cooperstown area, small town North Dakota, smaller towns in North Dakota coming in for a day of youth football. It brings us to today. Any questions, comments on past events from members? Hearing none, then today you came in and saw that tonight or this afternoon sometime the 2 flights of the honor flight will be returning to Fargo, and with the construction and everything, they'll actually do their welcome home celebration here. The attendees will be bussed over from the airport and be celebrated and picked up here. We did this again back in April or May, and it worked well. And so we have this. So, but it's a neat thing to go through if you haven't seen it. Moving forward, then this next coming Sunday is another with is FM Athletics, their first of 2 days of youth football games. Following into Saturday, the 11th of October. Congratulations to my wife for being our anniversary. I think it's 28th, but don't record that. I don't know if it's the right number. NDSU will be hosting Southern Illinois for a 2:30 kick, and then the final days of FM Athletics on that Sunday, full day of events. Turf will get pulled for a week while the Big One Arts and Crafts Fair will load in on Thursday the 16th, with the show on 17th and 18th. Unfortunately, the next week is quiet, which brings us up to the next meeting, which would be on Tuesday, October 28th, as we're getting ready for our 2 annual days of Minnesota High School football sectionals on the 30th and 31st, and then NDSU on November 1st against, I think it's Youngstown.
2 road games on
Any questions on past or upcoming events from the group?
Just had a quick question that without the specifics. You've had 2 pretty well attended Bison games in September. How do they end up, just generally, as far as concessions, that type of thing? Any idea?
Can't tell you. They've been good. Sales, I forget what our budget number was in there, but hopefully they're both above budget. I think at 170 or 75 for the first, and like 190 for homecoming, 195. So
that earlier game helps for the session.
it does help. It's interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the October 11th game. Back to a 2:30, but also homecoming's done, home opener's gone,
Hunting is on, and
let's. They've had great momentum, great crowds. Announced attendance of mid-17s, mid-18s. It's fantastic, but it's also happens. So that's a kickoff.
Yep.
At the middle of the second quarter, there's a few less seats because of the score.
Were you there in the third quarter?
I was there in the third quarter as well. But yeah, this week, yeah.
No, somebody won't know.
Southern Illinois will be too. I think they're 11th this week.
Oh, are they? Let's hope it's still a top 10 matchup.
you could tilt.
So yeah, it's been great games, great attendance. I should say it's been great attendance. The games have been pretty lopsided in the NDSU's favor, which is great. But we'll continue on and go from there.
Thank you, Rob.
Any other questions for Rob? We're going to circle back to 3A, and that is insurance renewal update. And Ben, I'm glad to have you here, and I would yield the table to you.
Perfect, thank you. Apologies, I was a few minutes late, but I've got copies there for everyone. Normally my counterpart, Ryan Hoffman, is here, but he didn't want to be here around delivering bad news, so he's skipped out. But no, thanks for making some time for me. And we really don't have that bad of news to share. Typically, we try to provide indications and updates by this meeting, but I don't know if we've ever had as firm of updates as we have now. So, a little bit of an issue that we had to deal with, the liability coverages with K&K currently. FARGODOME has been a partner with K&K on the casualty for 20 plus years. And they issued a notice of non-renewal, which I sent a note to Rob on, but they had the account set up to non-renew just due to adverse loss ratio was their reasoning. And so once you hit a certain threshold, it kind of kicks the eligibility out of the program. And that really had to do with 2 claims that were closed this past policy term. So there was a large one from the Red Hot Chili Pepper concert that was closed out, and then one from 2019, I believe it was the Swanson Tracks Entertainment one. So some claims that have kind of been being held for reserve without resolution, and they finally got resolved. So a bit skewed, if you will. We've known about those for a while, and so has the carrier. But given the long-term relationship that the FARGODOME has had with K&K, we were able to pull some strings and get them to rescind the non-renewal. So that's the good news. The caveat to that is, they are looking for a bit of a rate increase this year, which is understandable, having paid those 2 out. The program directive for K&K for what they're trying to get right now is 10%, which for this type of venue is reasonable, I would say. They've indicated and actually given us formal terms on the renewal with a 14.5% increase. So, big number percentage-wise, in the grand scheme of things for the FARGODOME spend, it's not as big of a portion when you compare it to the properties. But the good news is we've got a renewal from them. They lifted the non-renewal, and I feel like there's still opportunity for improvement there. If you might recall, circling back to the end of last year, we met late November, and we had another market engaged on the casualty at that time. So we did go through the remarketing process. That kind of drug out to the end, Rob, as you might recall. But they gave us a preliminary indication last year of $70,000 to $100,000 on just the primary general liability coverage, and our spend last year on that, just that portion, was $70,000. And then their actual number came in at $130,000. So they weren't even close when we got down to the last minute. So we know K&K is the right place, and I mean, their increase is a bit more than I'd like to see, but we know it's in the right place. They've been a good partner. So our suggestion on that portion would be to try to get K&K to come with a bit of a better number if it's a point or two, and get a renewal wrapped up with them early. So that's the challenging part, if you will, this year. It seems like there's something we got to deal with every year, but that's the surprise for us. On the property side, Zurich has been on the property insurance for a number of years now, and they've reached out early as well, and they've asked what they need to do to get the renewal wrapped up early. They proposed a 5% increase. We went back to them and suggested, give us a flat increase, and we'll present that to the authority and see if, that would be acceptable to agree to wrap up early. So they've committed to that. The big thing with the property program, when we've gone to market in the past, has been the flood limit. They're offering us $25 million on flood. There's no indication that they're going to change that. We've had markets in the past to say that they can compete, and really we get to the flood piece. They're not able to offer similar terms. So until the FARGODOME wants to buy less flood, if you will, we're in the right spot with Zurich as well. So our recommendation on that piece would be to wrap that portion up early as well. what am I not covering here? Just looking through it. There's some marketing notes on the next page from last year. You know, we went through the process with North Dakota Insurance Reserve Fund, and given the Spectra relationship, it's still not a good fit for them. They're only able to offer a $2 million limit compared to the 15 that you guys are buying currently. So it's really, until things change, they're not a serious player. And then American Specialty was the other market we had engaged. The preliminary renewal indications that we delivered were in the 8 to 12% range. So all things considered, if Zurich comes in where they say they're going to, there's probably a slight 2% inflationary increase on the building value like the Dome has done in the past. And then K&K comes in on their initial indication of 14%. Year over year, that puts us at about a 6.5% increase, which is under the preliminary indications and all things considered, I would say very good, with hopefully some opportunity for slight improvement. So generally, we're talking about renewal strategy here and trying to figure out what to do for the upcoming year and whether we're remarketing or not. So this is the information we have now. Our recommendation would be to renew as both carriers as is. We get things put to bed early, but what are your thoughts? What questions do you have for us? For me?
Questions? No, Joy. Silly question. What options do we have? I mean, you went through different options, but I didn't really hear many options.
On the property insurance?
Well, the property one's fine, I think. To be liability piece is what I'm thinking.
The liability piece? It's such a limited market with the type of venue this is. I mean, American Specialty is the one that, for example, is writing the Ralph. They're on the casualty for the Ralph. So that's, part of the reason we went to them last year, because we thought they'd be a competitive option. And they just weren't close in the grand scheme of things, right? They were 40 to 50% higher. Ace would be another potential option. They like the entertainment venue aspect, but they play more of the fair amusement park space. So it's a limited number of options. It's a great question, but I think what last year's exercise validated was, FARGODOME's got a good program, has had a good program for a long time. K&K's been a good partner. So carriers are, they're staying on the accounts they like, and they're not getting as aggressive on new business, new accounts, because they're being more selective. So we're in a good spot. Thanks. There's a long-winded answer to your question.
No, it's good answer.
Was the non-renewal letter that was kicked out, was that just standard protocol after the two suits came through?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, it was more just that hit the button and went out, and then you have to call them back and say, hey, okay, let's pump the brakes and have this conversation.
Yeah. Yes, sir. To answer your question, yes. Once the loss ratio hits a certain percentage, I believe it's 100%. The 5-year loss pick goes above 100. Now with these two claims closed, essentially K&K's authority is taken away by Markel, who's the carrier, the paper that the program is on. So they have to go to Markel and ask for that to be rescinded and an exception. So
Yeah.
It's an automatic trigger. That doesn't mean that they have to rescind.
Right.
But yeah,
It's policy, yeah.
Were those pending claims ever communicated?
Did any of us know about them?
I was dollar amounts, no, because I didn't know the dollar amounts. The actual, they were noted, I think, in one of the audits, but it had been talked about a little bit on the Swanson Tracks one of the theater show, but it lingered for different circumstances, right? So.
I see two options with this information. We can move to renew as presented, or we can step back and bring this to Finance and Building Committee and get this information out to that group, and then work it back up to FDA for October. So I throw that out there for the avenues we can travel with this.
You don't have to make a motion, but I would suggest that you direct them to get the final numbers and then bring it through the building finance.
Okay. Thank you.
Basically have authorize them to reach out to both of these and say, okay, we're going to renew. We have to see enough. We have to see the final, and then just bring it through and go with it. It's on, the red hot chili. It's an unfortunate one, but frankly, it was. Do you recall? It was the blizzard, and then it was 45 degrees the day of, and we were dropping ice melt all over the place, and it went for about an hour and a half on doors that. Well, I can't say that. On a different area that isn't typically used, and it froze up. And so we can all do everything we can, and we can always take one more step to improve on things that we never foresee, but we have a new item to our checklist.
And then that type of situation is just going to happen.
And then it goes into litigation. And
Yeah. So I would amend my recommendation then to secure the final renewal numbers and present those to the FDA as
well, you'd present to building finance.
building finance, which would be
3 weeks from now.
Yes, the third.
Does that give you enough time?
I think so.
Maybe
I'm
October
gonna
22nd.
That's over
October
22nd. I'm going to say yes.
And if not, we can
Move to the next meeting.
push to October 28th.
To go to the FDA.
We haven't actually gone through building finance for the last couple of years because it's always kind of gone down to the end, and it ends up into that November-December time frame. But
So we need to make a motion on that, or just give direct?
Well, I think that was the
I think you just gave the direction.
I didn't the direct, yeah. Okay, I'll take it. So just a follow-up question. So we've got these two large claims settlements hitting in 1 year, 2 years, one.
They all settled with him in past, during current policy.
Current policy. So how long do those linger on the track? Until you say, oh, okay, now you haven't had one for X years, or is it purely a numbers game? We've made up what we lost. Now we're okay. I mean, how does that work?
Great question. Typically what carriers are looking for when you go to market, for example, is a 5-year loss run or loss report. So 5 years is what they're looking at. Interestingly enough, that Swans and Tracks entertainment claim was from 2019. So I mean, technically, as of 1/1 of 26, it's not going to be on the board. That's the smaller of the two claims, so we still have the one on there.
And where's that one from?
Red Hot Chili Peppers concert.
That was 3 April.
23. Yeah.
4/23.
Is when the loss occurred.
Yeah. So, like the Swanson one, we have the choice to pay it out in larger. I mean, that dollar amount seems fairly. Let's be all that salary for. You would have that choice, or would have, if you go against the settlement recommendation of the carrier, then, essentially you're pulling back at that point from them. So defense is on you, and, any settlement or award, so it can snowball. And, property claims, what I would typically tell you is self-insure those. The liability ones are just tougher animals because of, the legal system today. So you kind of open yourself to more exposure there, but potentially you could have.
I don't think that you were asking. Do we just tell? Are you suggesting that you would work with K&K and just say, "We'll write the check for 88 to you guys, so you're not a loss"?
Yeah, once the settlement is declared at 88, say we'll pay that. But I suppose your point is that we've used the legal resources all the way up to get to that. So
Right, you still would have that option too. You could.
So if you took that option, would it be reasonable to ask, does this change things with regard to our premiums? Right. I mean, if it doesn't change anything, then why would we pay it? But that'd be a question for the insurance people.
Well, from a marketing perspective, if you think about that one specifically, it's going to be off the report.
Anyway.
Right? So,
Assuming it comes off the report.
well,
It should go from the date of loss, not from the date
pay.
of claim, date of pay, right?
will.
Okay.
Go, right? And so just kind of thinking about this is a great question and a good topic of conversation. But if you think about the programs looking for 10% rate, they're only asking us for 4.5% above that. That number is a lot smaller than ADA.
Right.
You know?
And maybe you need a lot of years of that to get to 80. Yeah.
So
I think we just go. Well, let ESB count. Yeah.
Well, I think it's been discussed as we will ask to get final numbers to be presented at the Finance Building Committee on the 22nd. All right. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate it. Thanks. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. Well, if not,
If these 5 people have their way, it won't be that long.
yeah. We will move on to 3C, and that is committee reports, and we will open with Rick. But thank you, David. Finance.
The finance reports, Rob shared that with us. I have nothing to add to that at this point. The next item on the agenda is project and capital budget updates. I am not going to try to explain those. So, Rob, if you want to give us the Reader's Digest version of those 2 items.
The water supply for the FARGODOME fire system, the exterior valve can't be turned off like in the driveway of your house, so that has to get replaced, and that was a budget adjustment request of that 48,000, which because of timing actually has been approved by the city commission already. But so that's for you. Went through the FAR committee, and then the distribution licensing for all of the signal that is created and distributed to all the concourse, bathroom, and lobby TVs. Right, wrong, or indifferent, they decided after 15 years you got to start paying annually on the license, so that was a reallocation for that.
Any questions for Rob? The Building and Finance Committee's recommended approval of both of those to the board. Next item on the agenda, escrow balance and performance report. We looked at that earlier, about a 12% return for the 12 months ended June. Not too bad. And I don't have any additional items except to ask for a motion to approve the finance report.
Moved by Troy.
Finance and building report.
Troy, and second by Blake. This is roll call, so
Troy,
yes.
David,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Blake.
Yes.
moving my report. Thank you, Rick. Appreciate it. So we'll go to 4A, and that is the convention center update. So on Friday the 26th, the selection committee met at City Hall to go over their scoring that they completed, which you will find that on the large sheet that's in the middle of the table, and then to also go through their or to receive the HVS report, which you all see here. So that was received by the selection committee, and then there was some ensuing discussion, and the way they're traveling right now is they were discussing selecting the top 4 from both their individual selections and then also from HVS. So as it stands right now, the selection committee right here, the top 4, you can see who that is in their ranked order. And then HVS, I believe it's on the last page. That is HVS's ranking, how they ranked the proposals. So in both of the HVS and in the selection committee, we landed in the top 4, which is good news. It gives us some direction that we have a chance to get to phase 2. The conclusion of that meeting was that if anybody had on the selection committee had questions or issues or wanted to make a compelling argument for 5 through 9 is next Friday at 2:00, or this coming Friday at 2:00, they would bring that forth and they would have the discussion. Following that discussion, they would make their selection of the 3 or 4 that they think should go forward. So we should know next Friday if we've been selected for phase 2, which then will create additional work for the FDA to present the phase 2 case. I asked Rob and Rick this, and maybe you guys don't know the answer. Is it the impression that, and maybe you too, Amanda, the impression is that if one is selected to phase 2, they will come out with the next round of questions? Nobody?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Is, are they coming out with the next round of questions?
Well, they
I
talked
believe
about
it's just
meeting
going to be a more in-depth look.
Yeah.
I don't even from the RFP, I don't feel it's clear.
Right. I asked that open-endedly. Nobody knows the answer. Nobody knows the
I
answer.
believe there'll be a deeper dive into
Everything.
financials. I don't know how you deeper dive into construction, maybe a deeper dive into constructability and budgeting and how you work that, but I truly don't understand.
When you're reading all these questions, especially for the top 4, there's a clear theme of where they don't have enough information, I thought. The ability to attract a hotel. That seems a theme on almost every one of them. The issue about affordability, so it's construction piece. How are you going to finance it? I think, and then the other piece, I'm not sure it's in the top 4, but a lot of questions seem to come up. You have the land. Where's the land coming from? There was a lot of questions on that, I thought. So, there's just a lot of information I thought the committee really still needs to get into. And narrowing it down, I think I agree with Rob. It's going to be way more in depth. If you're serious about this, we need the details on how this is going to happen. And that's my guess. I'm not sure there's going to be questions. I wouldn't.
I couldn't read that committee to tell you, but
Right.
I think it's give us your plan. That's what it seems like.
The reason why I asked that is because I was thinking about it. If in fact I was sitting on a selection committee, and you have 4 that are brought forward to phase 2, like, couldn't you create a standard template of the economics and say, okay, what's your site cost? What's your infrastructure cost? What's your building cost? And neutralize it so everybody has to lay it out there equitably. That's just me. But
I've had thoughts, but since I'm not on that committee,
well, I'm not on the committee either.
And this phase is probably going to be led more by the FARGODOME Authority or other FARGODOME staff. But I would say that it would be other city staff. Yes, you are correct. Okay, just to say, we'll wait and see what they issue.
Yep.
Oh, it's time to go.
Sorry, time.
4 o'clock. Bike's gotta go.
He told me you were going to be done by 4.
That was my
Or notice.
half-hour notice.
Any additional answers?
So 2:00 next Friday.
This Friday or next Friday?
This Friday.
I don't know.
Okay.
This Friday too.
This Friday.
There's another meet.
Yes, and from there, conceivably, the selection to phase 2 will conclude, and we'll know who that is. Their goal is to have whoever they deem to move on would go to City Commission on the 13th of October. I think they're gunning for to get approved, and then they would start the next phase of doing the interviewing process. And I don't know what the timeline is on that. So we should know by the end of this week if we're moving on or not. So that's the convention center.
David, if I may, with your first opening comments, it was like, well, this is going to give the bottom 5 a chance to make a better case. Well, if the bottom 5 have a chance to make a better case, that means
The people within the selection committee can say, oh gosh, somebody thought, well, they scored someone, an individual on the selection committee, not people down here.
okay, so that would be, so there's no input from the proposers.
Correct. That's what
At least public input.
That's what
I'm guessing there's a lot of private input, but no public input. I'm just guessing.
that was my understanding too.
Okay. That wasn't clear when they said, make that.
Yeah, the none of the proposers are back to the table. It's just the selection committee.
All right.
If somebody wants to make a case for them, and they can sort it out themselves. So that concludes the convention center update. Is there anything else before we go to the order of the FDA? You look like you got something to say here, Rob. Hearing none, we're adjourned.